Hello. This week, we're going to look at self-esteem and moral development. Oh, those are so important when you get to an early childhood classroom. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this in. Let's see if we've shared it. I'm not sure if that shared it or not. Hang on. Okay, we're in the right place now. All right, so I am on week 8, and this self-esteem and moral self is in learning modules week 8. I just want to pull out a few things here. Teachers are I think most teachers are very good at making sure children feel that they are esteemed in the classroom. But I think it's worth pointing out a few things that teachers sometimes fall into. These are habits that are not good for children's self-esteem. The first one is parroting, where you just repeat everything they say all the time. They ask you something, you literally repeat it to them. It's not important to do that. Reflecting incessantly, sometimes if you just reflect everything they say, not a good thing either. Correcting language, this is a horrible habit. Early childhood is a time when children are still working on their syntax, and they're going to make grammatical mistakes. You're going to have children say things like, the fishes were really big. Well, we know it's supposed to be fish, but correcting them is something that just slaps them down every time. And over time, they will become less and less willing to share things with you. The best way to get past these grammatical issues is to be a good example, to model proper language use. They'll pick it up. They really will. But by being a model, you're not ruining their self-esteem. And the habitual questioning, if you just when the child says to you, where do bears sleep in winter? And then, well, where do you think? Well, you know what? If they knew where the bears slept in the winter, they wouldn't have asked you to begin with. So sometimes you just have to be out there and give them the answer. It's okay to let them do some inquiry and find things out for themselves. But a lot of times they really want an answer. So, okay, enough said on that. I want to talk about these stages of moral development, because for the most part, we see in Kohlberg stages, we see stage 1 and 2 in early childhood. This is where rules are viewed as absolute. Nothing is in a gray area ever. The reason we obey rules is because we're avoiding punishment. Well, that's fine when you're very little. But then as they grow older, you want them to develop a moral compass that allows them to view things maybe needing an exceptionality now and then. So be really careful going through this Kohlberg stages section. And I have them down here. I think it might be a little bit more easy than having them in the textbook. That's why I included them here. And trust me, you need to know examples of Kohlberg stages for the OSAT. Okay, some suggestions for you. Children need to understand why you're asking them to do something. They need to understand what they did to break a rule. If someone does get hurt by another child, make sure you always attend to the victim first, because that takes the focus off the perpetrator and puts the entire focus onto the victim. Having animals in the classroom is a wonderful way to teach children ethical handling of someone that's smaller than you are and dependent on you for their care and feeding. Model acts of caring. Children watch us all the time. They are modeling themselves after us. I don't know if you've had this happen to you, but there were so many times I walked by the Dramatic Play Center in my pre-K and kindergarten classroom, and they would be playing teacher. And by golly, the teachers sounded just like me. So be aware, they're always watching you. All right. And you might use a classroom buddy to introduce a moral issue. You know, a stuffed animal, a big bear, a huge stuffed turkey, whatever it is. The bear could be facing that problem or that moral dilemma, and the children could be raising their hand and giving you some solutions. It's a great way for them to learn how to manage situations that might be very tricky. They're still working on their moral compass. So just some ideas for you. This is a really good chapter in the book. So this week, you're going to do one of my favorite activities, which is the time schedule. But I just want to go over this with you just for a few minutes. I know that I talked about this in week 6, and you had a great deal of information on how to put it together during week 6. Please go back to whatever that section in the video was during week 6 and refresh yourself on the time schedule criteria. And that way we'll make sure you have an absolutely wonderful classroom time schedule when you turn it in later this week. I want to go over there it is. Okay. So this time schedule is going to be either pre-K, kindergarten, or first grade. Make sure that when you present it on your video, you let me know. You're going to display your time schedule, and you are going to do the old Vanna White and tell me all about it, okay, from top to bottom. Make sure that you have easy to read print, easy to read. Your activities and times should be able to be edited, because principals are forever changing the times that you do whatever you do. And you need pictures. You need pictures on every single one of those activity cards, because they can't read. 4-year-olds can't read, 5-year-olds basically can't read, and a lot of first graders can't read. So make sure you've got your pictures. The print should be big enough it can be read from 3 feet away. It should read from top to bottom. And you should have interchangeable activities with pictures, because like I said, activities change. I use a pocket chart for mine. I don't expect you to go out and invest in a pocket chart. And I don't expect you to go out and buy this either, even though I know they're available on all the teacher websites. I used to make mine. I never bought one of these in my life. I would get sentence strips. That's all I would buy, sentence strips. And then I would chop them up and get pictures and glue pictures, or sometimes draw pictures so kids knew what they were doing. And then I would have the activity and the time. Make sure activities and times are on 2 different cards, because sometimes you got to switch everything around. If you have any questions about this, please let me know. I'll be happy to respond, either email or Zoom. And I look forward to seeing all of your beautiful time schedules. I hope you enjoy doing these, because I'll tell you what, most of the students I've had before said they used them in their classroom when they graduated, and they were a useful thing to create. Have a wonderful week. Let me know if you need anything. Bye-bye.